Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat shalom. Wow. Who would have known in the months leading up to this and the uncertainty of what this could potentially look like to celebrate Eitan this morning, that we'd be able to gather as many of us who are here in person, some family and friends over Zoom, but what a sacred opportunity to be together. My name's Joe Menashe. I am honored to know this beautiful family. Dana just corrected me, I'm not surprised by that, to say Rabbi Joe. Thank you, Dana. But Joe Menashe, through Camp Ramah, love this family and the beautiful sacred affiliations we have through camp, joined by Rabbi Feivel Rubenstein, who has trained a good portion of the family this morning, including Eitan, for their Torah reading and leading of the service today. I just want to begin teaching something about the first two words that Jews are supposed to say every morning. We begin the morning by saying, Modeh Ani. And oftentimes in a service, we start just after that, because that's what you're supposed to say when you wake up. But those of us at camp know we actually begin the service because we want to teach it by singing, Modeh Ani lefanecha. It's peculiar Hebrew. Because in Modeh Ani literally is usually translated as, I am thankful. But it's not. It's peculiar Hebrew. It's thankful I am. Normally, in normal modern Hebrew, if you were to say, like, I thank you, or I'm thankful, you would say, Ani modeh. You begin with the I. But we as Jews begin every morning with gratitude before asserting ourselves into that moment. And I think that's where we all are today. Right? Just like that's how we begin each day individually, and today we're just filled with modim, with gratitude to be able to be here today. Eitan, thank you for being bar mitzvah today, right? This is one of those things that we're all pinching ourselves and saying is this really happening? Are we really here celebrating? So this is awesome. We are grateful, we're excited. You're probably and I think I'm reflecting and refracting everybody else's full heart this morning, that we're beginning with real profound gratitude. So I want to just invite everybody to participate nice and loudly this morning. Some of us are more familiar with the tefillot, with the services, some less. I hope everybody feels like they're fully able to engage and join in this morning. And so I will call forward for a talit presentation. And then at the end of that, we will sing Shechianu, thanking God for getting us to this moment. Evan, Dana, Eitan, yeah, come on forward. And you have to be a little near the mic, just so Zoom can pick it up.
You read it.
Oh, in the mic?
In Hebrew.
Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotanu v'etzivanu lahitatev betzitzit.
Amen.
I don't know how. Thank you. You're supposed to fold it.
Ask everyone to please rise, join together for Shechianu, thanking God for enabling us to reach this sacred moment.
Do I sing too?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Sit back down.
May be seated. Rabbi Feivel will begin leading us with Shachrit. It starts on page 147, page 147 with Shochen Ad.
Shochen Ad Marom Vekadosh Shemo Vechatuv Ananu Tzadikim Badonai Layesharim Navatehila Befi Yesharim Tithalal Uvdivrei Tzadikim Titbarach Uvilshon Chasidim Titromam Uvkerev Kedoshim Titkadash Uvmakalot Rivevot Amcha Beit Yisrael Barina Yitpayer Shimcha Malkinu B'Kol Dor Vador Shekein Chovat Kol Yitzurim Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu V'Lehavotenu Lehodod Lehalel Leshabech Lefaher Leromem Lehadel Levarech Lehalel Kales Al Kol Divrei Shirot V'Tishbechot David Ben Yishai Avdecha Meshichecha Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu Ayel Melech HaGadol V'Shmosh Me'amai V'Varat Tzedil Chanel V'Vatinu Shimshma Ziman Brachot V'Hodaot Me'ata V'Ad Olam Baruch Ata Adonai El Melech Gadol B'Tishbachot El HaHodaot Adonai Niflaot Habocher B'Shirei Zimra Melech Elchei HaOlamim Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba Be'almad yivrachirote v'yamlich malchute B'chayechon v'yomechon Uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael B'gala uvizman kari V'imru Amen Yehe shmei rabba mevarach Le'alam u'lalmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudsha b'richu Le'la min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata Nechemata Damiran Be'alma Ve'imru Amen Barechu et Adonai Hamavorach Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Le'olam Va'ed Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer u'varecho Shechoseh shalom u'varei et hakol Ein kerkecha ve'ein l'chayei ha'olam haba Efes biltecha go'alinu limot ha'mashiach Ve'ein domeh lecha moshienu litchiyat ha'metim El Adon al kol ha'masim baruch umvorach Befi kol neshama godlo v'tuvo Malei olam dat u'tvuna sovevim oto המתגאה חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישור לפני כיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרה בדעת בבינה ובהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נעזיבם בכל העולם שמחים וצאתם וששים בבואם עושים הם הרצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות סולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרחו רעה והתקין צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים ביום השביעי תתעלה וישב על כל תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים באימה וביראה ורצון קונם, וכולם פותחים בית פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים, ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול, הגיבור והנורא קדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש לרוצם בנחת רוח, בשפה וביראה ובנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, לאל ברוך נמות ייתנו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכחו לנו מהרה לאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות.
154, Ahavah will lead into the Shema.
אהבה רבה אבטנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ויתרה, חמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו בעבור אבותינו שבטחו בך אבינו מלכנו ותלמדם חוקי חיים כן תכוננו תלמדנו אבינו האב הרחמן המרחם רחם עלינו ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע ללמוד וללמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והאר עינינו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודו לך ויחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. I'd like to call up Eitan to help lead us in the Shema. Yes, you did. Come up.
I thought we were doing this in Twitter.
No.
Shema Yisrael
Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, והיה אם שמוע. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונדנו על ציצית. הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית. וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים, ובכיסו נכון מלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת, ודבריו חיים וקיימים. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו מצילנו מלום שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם.
And at the bottom of the page we'll rise, we'll begin the Amidah together through the Kedusha and then continue for a few minutes of silent prayer to ourselves. Middle of 158.
Tehillah le'el elyon baruch hu mvorach Moshe u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira besimcha rabba ve'amru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh Nora tehilot osef ele Shira chadasha shibchu geulim l'shimcha al sfat hayam Yachad kulam hodu v'himlichu ve'amru Adonai imloch leolam va'ed Tzur Yisrael Kuma bezrat Yisrael Uftechenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch at Adonai Gal Yisrael Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ושרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך לארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מנצים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב ימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור נצח נצחים. ועינינו תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהים מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי על מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. ישמח משה. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, וגיון ליבי לפניך. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, vegoali.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. That's what Bible just sang here at the end, which is one of the concluding lines of the Amidah. Kaddish Shalem. Those of you who have the custom to stand, please remain standing. Others may be seated. Kaddish Shalem, page 167.
יתגדל ויגדש שמי רבה, ואלמד יברח חירותיו, וימליך מלכותיו בחייכון, וימלכון בחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון דכל ישראל קודם ובהון דבשמיא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו Amen.
Going to invite forward the ark openers. Invite forward Jonah and Jordan. Great. You don't open yet, but you can come on up and stand. Excellent. We're going to call up Eitan, who's going to help lead us here in the Torah service.
You're going to
We're
do
on page
great.
168 in Kamocha.
You got this. Start.
Ein kamocha
Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kemasecha, malchutecha malchut, kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch, leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, av harachamim, eitiv avir tzoncha et Zion, tivne chomot Yerushalayim, tivne chomot Yerushalayim, ki ram venisa Adon olamim.
Next. Okay. That's me. Vayhi bin Saharan.
Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, ve'yafutzu oivecha, ve'yanusu mesanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. Be'ana rachet ve'lishmei kadisha, kadisha yakira, anai mar tushbechan. Be'ana rachet ve'lishmei kadisha, kadisha yakira, anai mar tushbechan. Yehi ra'ava kodamach, detiftach libi be'oraita, betashlim mishalin delibi, ve'lib b'dechol amach Yisrael letavul chayin velishlam. Amen.
Before the Shema, I'd like to call forward Eitan's grandfather, Mr. Schlessinger. You come forward a moment. And Dana and Evan. And I just want to stand in front of his grandfather. This week's Torah portion is called Parshat Bahalotcha. And it's when Aaron is given an instruction to light the nerot, to light the candles. And Rashi asks a question, a commentator asks the question, why does it say Bahalotcha? Which really means he's lifting up the candles. It should be, Hadlakta, Hilakta, right? We should light the candle. And Rashi says it's because the lahava, the flame itself, oleh na'aleha, that it learns to go up on its own. And as we are going to symbolize here, passing this Torah down, generation to generation, we think about what that means for Eitan, not to just lahadlik, to kind of turn a light switch on, but for him to be accepting that sense of this tradition, this inheritance that is represented here by these three generations, that goes back thousands of years, that will be his flame, that he's going to raise up on his own, please God, over a long, healthy, fruitful, productive life ahead. So, Bible, can you sing some kind of appropriate tefillah here?
Ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid god lecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nakdish.
Repeat the Shema after Eitan.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai Iti, Unromema Shemo Yachdav.
Lecha Adonai. Is he going to walk around a little bit? Just maybe the,
Are we doing that? Just the front? Okay.
Veret vehanetzach vehahod.
Kival Hashamayim uvaretz, Kival Hashamayim uvaretz, Lecha Adonai Ma'amnacha, V'hi Na'aseh Lechol Rosh. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'ishtachavu L'Hadon V'Hagla Kadoshu. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'ishtachavu L'Har Kadsho Ki Kadosh. Adonai
Eloheinu.
You can go sit for now. Okay, good.
We'll call you back up in a bit.
You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As we begin the actual Kriyat Torah, the reading of the Torah portion, I just want to share what a beautiful journey this has been for the Schlessinger family. I had the privilege of working not only with Eitan, but also with Dana and Shira, who are going to be reading from the Torah this morning. And I cannot tell you how many stories that I heard throughout this time of the three of them sitting together and helping one another learn their Torahs, maybe sometimes more friendly, sometimes less friendly with one another. And that's really what Torah is all about. To quote the late, great Rabbi David Hartman, if Torah doesn't matter right now, then it never mattered. And this is where Torah comes in. This beauty that the Schlessinger family has shared in their journey learning together and will share with all of you today is that regardless of how we read the Torah, regardless of how we interpret the various stories, regardless of how much the rabbis argue over this word or the hidden meaning, the real meaning of the Torah is Ledor Vador. It's that passing of generation to generation. And so I'm just so grateful to the Schlessinger family for allowing me the opportunity to study with all of you and to learn from all of you how beautiful a family can be when we bring Torah into the home together. So with that, our Torah reading this morning will begin on page 821. 821, verse 15. There are chumashim floating around. If you don't have a chumash, I think, here we go. This gentleman's bringing them around. There are chumashim around. Raise your hand if you'd like one. Yes, 821 is where we'll begin, verse 15. I'll invite my first Torah reader and our first aliyot here. Ya'amidu aliyah rishona. This right here. If you could take your talit. Here's the yad. Okay. If you could take your talit and touch right. Dana, show him where to touch with the talit.
Right here.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher baharbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oish, okay.
Amen.
Uvyom hakim et hamishkan kisa he'anan et hamishkan le'ohel ha'edut uva'erev yehieh al hamishkan he'anan yachasenu umare esh laila ufi he'alot he'anan Me'al ha'ohel ve'acharechen is'u b'nei Yisrael uvimkom asher yishkon sham he'anan sham yachanu b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai is'u b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai yachanu kol yemei asher yishkon He'anan
Al hamishkan yachanu. Let's show him where to. We're going to show him where to touch first. Go ahead and touch right there.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher notan lanu Torah emet v'hayil olam notan b'tohenu Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Simen tovu,
Mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, and simen tov, simen tov, and we'll just have you stand right over here.
Tell us when to leave. I don't do anything else.
that's not an awesome model of like what it means to continue to learn and push and expand and grow. Dana, Shakwa.
Yashikoach. All right, our second aliyah can be found on page 822, verse 19. We have our second Torah reader come on up, and if our second aliyah can make their way. Oh, same person. Ta'amod ya'amdu la'aliyah shniya.
This one?
Yeah, but first take your talit.
Oh.
And touch where you're going to start.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Amorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher b'achar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. Uv'ha'arich ha'anan al ha'mishkan yamim rabim v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et mishmer Adonai v'lo yisa'u v'yesh asher yeh ha'anan yamim misbar al ha'mishkan al pi Adonai yachanu ve'al pi Adonai yisa'u v'yesh asher yeh ha'anan me'erev ad boker v'na'ala ha'anan b'boker v'nasa'u o yamam v'layla v'na'ala ha'anan v'nasa'u o yamayim o chodesh o yamim v'ha'arich ha'anan al ha'mishkan lishkan alav Yachanu b'nei Yisrael v'lo yisa'u uv'ha'alata yisa'u al pi Adonai yachanu v'al pi Adonai yisa'u et mishmeret Adonai shamaru al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe.
Touch there.
Shaking. The Holy Spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Thank you, Bible.
You guys can actually stay over here for one more since you need the aliyah.
I was like, shit, did you see my hand?
Yeah, let's do. Ya'amdu l'aliyah hashlishi. If you could take the talit right here. Right at the paragraph. Are you ready?
Yeah. Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Amorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach. Amen. Baruch Adonai Hambarach. Asher Bakabana we call me. Manasseh Lanu with Torah so. Baruch Adonai no Saint HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai al Moshe lemor. Aseh lecha shetei hachatzorot kesef miksha haaseh otam v'hayuhu lach lemikra ha'edah lema'asa et hamachanot v'taka'u behem v'noadu elecha kol ha'edah al petach ohel mo'ed ve'im v'ochat v'yitka'u v'noadu elecha hanse'im resha alfei Yisrael utkatem teruah v'nasu hamachanot hachonim kedma v'taka'u utkatem teruah shenit v'nasu hamachanot hachonim teimana teruah yitka'u Lamaseichem uf kahil et hakohal תתקעו ולא תריעו, ובני אהרון הכהנים יתקעו בכל קוצרות, והיו לכם לחוקת עולם לדורותיכם.
Very good.
Touch with the talit. Sorry, touch right here with the talit.
Okay.
And right down here.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasalanu Torah.
Olam
Netan Netzasenu Baruch atah Adonai Nosena Torah. Okay. We slide over.
Our fourth aliyah. Our fourth aliyah can be found on page 823, verse 9. Ya'amdu la'aliyah haravi'it. You take your talit. And do you see where you are? Should be in this paragraph. Yeah. Okay, so show them where to touch.
Baruchu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Amborach leolam avaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Uvenei Aharon HaKohanim Yishga'u Hazarot V'hayu Lachem L'chukat Olam L'dorotechem V'kitavu Milchama V'artchem Al Hatzar Hatzara Etchem V'hariotem V'hatzazarot V'niskartem Lifnei Adonai Lachechem V'mosochem Me'avochem Uviyom S'bechachem Moadechem Uvarashe Hashechem V'tzechau b'chatzarot al alotechem v'al tivchei samachem v'hayu lachem l'zikaron lifnei Elokechem ani Adonai Elokechem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Yashkoach. You guys can stay up here for a minute. You can stay up here for one more. Just stay on this side. Perfect. Yashkoach. Before our fifth aliyah, we will pause for a mishaberach lecholim, a prayer for healing of those in our community who are ill, whether in body or in spirit. I'll begin the tefillah, and at a certain point, I will pause for names at that time. If there's anyone in your mind or in your heart who is in need of a little bit of healing, either in spirit or in body, feel free at that moment to say their name aloud. I'll pause to give everyone an opportunity to say their name, and then we'll conclude the blessing. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et hacholim. Terry Rinder, Sarah Batibra, that Maya B'Chaya V'Sahava. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lahachazikam Ularapotam V'yishlach Lahem Mehira Refuah Shlema Min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh U'Refuat HaGuf Betoch Shar HaCholim V'chazek Et Yidei HaOskim B'tzorcheihem Shabbatim Miliz'ok U'Refuah Karova Lavo Hashta Bagala V'Zman Kariv V'Nomar Amen.
Fifth Aliyah is on page 823, bottom of the page, verse 11.
Do you want to kiss the Torah with your talus?
Ready?
With your talus, just I'll do it on his behalf. Baruch Adonai Barak Olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bonu mikol ha'amim v'nasan l'Torah lanu es Torah so Baruch atah Adonai nosin Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayehi bashana hashenit b'chodesh hasheni b'esrim b'chodesh v'na'ala hanan me'al mishkan ha'edut vayisu v'nei Yisrael l'maseihem mimidbar Sinai vayishkon ha'anan b'midbar Paran Vayisu barishona al pi Adonai biyad Moshe vayisa degel machane bnei Yehuda barishona letzivotam ve'al tzva'o Nachshon ben Aminadav ve'al tzva'o Matei v'nei Yisachar Netanel ben Suar ve'al tzva Matei v'nei Zvulun Eliav ben Chelon ve'hurad hamishkan v'nasu v'nei Gershon v'nei Merari nosei hamishkan v'nasa degel machane Reuven letzivotam ve'al tzva'o Elitzur ben Shteur ve'al tzva Matei v'nei Shimon Shlumiel ben Surishadai ve'al tzva Matei v'nei Gad El Yasaf ben Deuel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nosan lanu Torah sames chayei olanu matzas b'sorcheinu Baruch atah Adonai nosin Torah.
Amen.
Amen.
Now we're going to just stand on this side. What page is the finished? Oh, we have to determine. Sorry. Do you want me to? Let's go on the side here.
Our sixth aliyah can be found on page 824, verse 21. Verse 21. Ya'amdu l'aliyah shishit.
Please take note of this beautiful trope, different nusach from what I think many of us are used to hearing. That will be learned right now of the Syrian tradition. Chavod.
So if you take your talit and touch right where he's showing you.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Morach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן. ונשאו הקהתים נושאי המקדש והקימו את המשכן עד בואם ונשא דגל מחנה בני אפרים לסיבותם ועל צבאו אלישמע בן עמיהוד ועל צבא מטה בני מנשה גמליאל בן פדצור ועל צבא מטה בני בנימין אבידן בן גדעוני ונשא דגל מחנה בני דן מאסף לכל המחנה לצבאותם ועל צבאו אחי עזר בן עמישדי ועל צבא מטה בני אשר פגעיאל בן אוכרן ועל צבא מטה בני נפתלי אחירה בן עינן אלה מסעי בני ישראל לצבאותם ויסעו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torat emet v'hayei olam natan betuchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Our seventh aliyah. Our seventh aliyah can be found on page 825, verse 29. Verse 29. Ya'amdu la'aliyah shvi'it.
If you call it that.
If you go, should we read the paragraph? Touch right the paragraph.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe v'chovav ben Ruel hamidyani choten Moshe nosim anachnu el hamakom asher amar Adonai oto eten lachem lecha otanu itanu v'itavnu lach ki Adonai diber tov al Yisrael vayomer elav lo elech ki im el artzi ve'el moladati elech vayomer el na ta'azov itanu otanu ki al ken yadata chonotenu b'midbar v'yitalanu le'nayim v'haya ki telech imanu v'haya hatov hahu asher yetiv Adonai imanu v'hetavnu lach v'yasu mehar Adonai derech shloshet yamim v'aron brit Adonai nosa lifnehem derech shloshet yamim latur lahem menucha ve'enan Adonai Elohim yomam alehem yomam ben Isam min hamachaneh.
Well done, Jimmy. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'Chayehi Olam Nata B'Tochenu Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. First. Chatzi Kaddish can be found on page 174. If it's your custom to stand for the Chatzi Kaddish, you may rise. Otherwise, you may remain seated.
Yikarav Yikarav Shmer Rabbah. Amen. V'yamati Brakvate v'yam lich machute b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedeko Beit Yisrael b'agalav zman kariv v'imra amen. Hey Shmei Rabbah Mavrak. Yeshmei Rabbah Barak Lamamaya. Yit Barak Vishtabak Yit Bar Yit Ramam Vit Naseh Vita Dar Vita Lev Vita Lal Shmed Gudsha Bruchu. Leilam Kobrachata Visharata Tush Bachata V'Nechamata Damiron B'Yama V'Imramein.
Ya'amod, 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 Habachura Bar Mitzvah, Eitan Amitai Ben Yechiel V'Daniela, La'aliyah Maftir Chazak.
Yay.
Our Maftir Aliyah can be found on page 825 at the very, very end of the page, the last two words, verse 32. So we're going to open this. No, just the edge. Yes. Yep. Find where you are. Where did it go? There it is. Touch with your tongue. Okay, close it.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'na'atan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
V'haya ki telech imanu v'haya hatovahu asher yetiv Adonai imanu v'hetabnu lach vayisu mehar Adonai derech shloshet yamim va'aram brit Adonai nosea lifnehem derech shloshet yamim latur lahem menucha va'anan Adonai alahem yomam Benos Amin Hamachaneh.
Touch right there.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chaye Olam Nata Betochenu Baruch.
Misheber Yechiel v'Daniela she'ala hayom lichvod hamakom v'lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat hakadosh v'lichvod habar mitzvah hakadosh Baruch Hu yishmor oto v'et kol mishpachto v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadav im kol Yisrael echav v'achiotav v'achioteha v'nom. We're going to call up our lifter and rapper of the Torah. So if you're lifting and rapping the Sefer Torah, you stay here. Please join us up here. As mod hamagpia v'ta'amod haTorah. Where is it?
It's before prayer for Israel. It's procession first.
Where's the... V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. תחילה מחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. ינאי 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 ינאי. השיבנו השם השם אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
May be seated. Let's get you a little closer to the mic. Just so people on Zoom can hear you.
Okay, yeah, okay, good.
All right. So, words of the Torah portion, speak very slowly so that we can all hear. And I assure you, it's worth listening to. B'chavod, Eitan, we're excited to learn from you.
When and where to go. Should have been ancient ways. But it also... Okay. What do you want me to do? All right. But it also seems to function on a deeper level. When I felt this, I feel as if the cloud helped the Israelites with their struggles. Physical, emotional, communal, all kinds. Ugh. And it led me... And it led me to wonder, can this metaphor or concept of a cloud help us learn something on how to deal with the struggle? Or help us learn what God's role is in when we all deal with struggle? One midrash, quoted by the medieval French commentator Rashi, says, as soon as the Israelites set forth on a journey, the pillar of cloud went above the Israelites, whereupon they blew a shofar 3 times. The cloud did not move, however, until Moses said, rise up, O Lord. It surprised me to realize that according to this midrash, the cloud, a representation of God, like being sent by God, didn't move when only God wanted it to. It moved when both God and the people wanted to move and made an active effort. The Torah doesn't add in here the blowing of the shofar, or Moses commanding the Lord to rise up, but our tradition does. What does this teach us? One thing that this could teach us is that when you want to get over a struggle, it doesn't just go away when God wants it to. You too have to make an active effort to get over your problem. For example, some people in very religious communities, not just Jewish, believe that COVID will go away when God wants it to. But as we read, that isn't always the case. If we were to wait for God to take away the pandemic, it would end with more, and the world would be cured of its problems. But again, we can do mitzvot, or we could look out for those who are less fortunate. Created seawater compacted in our butts and wait for something good to happen. We need to meet people or nature halfway, or sometimes all the way, so we can be the change that we want to see in the world. We can't change the world ourselves, but we can still make a difference, and that difference can still help people. Now, of course, I'm disappointed that God won't do everything for us. We can get through struggle with God's help, but the lesson of the cloud is that it will also take some of our own effort. In conclusion, who can be this cloud to guide you? Friends? Family? God? Donuts? Anything. As long as you contribute or make an effort, it enables these clouds to help support and shelter you. Maybe not donuts, though. For me, my cloud has definitely been my parents and siblings. My dad has taught me so much about Judaism, and without him, I wouldn't be making such an awesome Dvar Torah. Also, thank you, Rabbi Joe, for helping me with this. I want to thank my mom for being such a good mother to me and my siblings, and also who just read Torah for the first time. And so a little bit of candy was already passed out, so just throw like 2 pieces at her. That'd be great. No. All right, okay. Now for sure. We fight a lot, and honestly, sometimes you say some annoying things. But at the end of the day, I'm really glad I have such a great sister. Now, Shimon, even though we're twins, we've always been different. We go to different schools. We're taking different classes. You're less religious. I need help on my homework, and you don't. But even though we have all these differences, I wouldn't be myself if you weren't my brother. And I'm grateful for all the time we spent together. Shabbat shalom.
Um, Shakach, Mazel Tov. We're going to go directly into the Haftarah blessings in the Haftarah, which is on page 837. Page 830. Internal struggles within the Jewish people about what we should be doing politically and spiritually. And dare I say, we're struggling learning that lesson, and there might be some insights here about, regardless of what perspectives are, to recognize that there is so much more that binds us and bonds us, and that's what's enabled our tradition to last for 3,000 years. We're going to go 3,000 more. We should open our hearts to what Eitan's going to read right now. Page 837. Yeah, and if we can, we're going to just hold off on the candy passing for a couple minutes just because of the noise, so we can hear Eitan really well as he chants the blessings and then the Haftarah. Page 837.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'eh ha'emet b'tzedek. Roni vesimchi batzion ki hineni va veshachanti vetochech neum Adonai venilvu goyim rabim el Adonai bayom hahu vehayu li le'am veshachanti vetochech veyadat ki Adonai tzvaot shelachani elaich. V'nachal Adonai et Yehuda chelko al admat hakodesh uvachar od b'Yerushalayim. Haskol basar mipnei Adonai ki neor mimon kodsho. Vayareni et Yehoshua hakohen hagadol omed lifnei malach Adonai ve'asatan Omed al yamino lesitno. Vayomer Adonai el Satan yigar Adonai becha hasatan veyigar Adonai becha habocher b'Yerushalayim halo zeh udmutzal me'esh v'Yoshua haya lavush bagadim so'im ve'omed lifnei hamalach. Vaya'an vayomer el ha'omdim lefanav lemor hasiru habgadim hatzoim me'alav vayomer elav re'eh he'evarti me'elecha avonecha behalbesh otcha machalatzot va'omar yasimu tzaniv tahor al rosho vayasimu Hatzanifa tahor al rosho vayalbishuhu begadim umalach Adonai omed vayad malach Adonai bihoshua lemor koamar Adonai tzvaot im bidrachai telech ve'im et mishmarti tishmor vegamata tadin et beiti Vegam tishmor chatzerai venatati lecha malachim ben ha'omdim ha'ele shmana Yehoshua hakohen hagadol ata ve're'echa hayoshvim lefanecha ki anshe mofet hema ki hineni mevi et avdi tzemach Ki hene ha'evan asher natati lifnei Yehoshua al evan achat shiva enaim hineni mefatech pitucha neum Adonai tzvaot umoshti et avon ha'aretz hahi b'yom echad bayom hahu neum Adonai tzvaot tikreu ish l're'ehu el tachat gafen ve'el tachat te'ena All right, that's all I'm doing. Yay. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzaddik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayim shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha b'devar echad midvarecha achur lo yashuv rekam ki hamelech ne'eman v'rachaman ata Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaNe'eman V'chol Devarav Rachem Al Tzion Ki Hi Beit Chayinu V'la Aluvat Nefesh Toshia B'mheira V'yameinu Baruch Ata Adonai Mesamech Zion Bevaneha Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu Be'eliyahu Hanavi Avdecha U'machlut Beit David Meshichecha B'mheira Yavo Ve'yagel Libenu Al Kiso Lo Yeshev Zar Ve'lo Yinchalu Od Acherim Et Kevodo Ki B'Shem Kodechecha Nishbata Lo Shelo Yichbe Nero Leolam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai Magen David Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al HaNevi'im Ve'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha V'limnucha Lechavod Ultifareh Ala Kol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim Lach Umvarchim Otach Yitbarach Shimcha Befi Kol Chai Tamid Leolam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Why'd you choose hard candy? Why'd you choose hard candy? Ow. Why is it so?
The best one yet.
Congrats. Thank you.
If you like candy and you're not young enough that you'd like to take some of this candy, please come up now and retrieve as much candy as you'd like.
Also, Eitan will be happy if you can throw actual technology at him, such as phones. So, you can throw phones at him as well. He probably will take them. He won't mind if they crack.
You, then Shimon, then Shira, then me, then me.
No, that's okay. We're just going to shift it off.
We can use a little more help here from some kids, please, before we continue. It's free chocolate.
Thank you, Jordan. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're about half an hour from now. Half an hour, it's 25 minutes. Okay. We're going to ask everybody to sit back down, please. We're going to continue the service. Eitan. Eitan, you're done, but you're not done. Come on. Eitan Yashakach. And now, the next few minutes are a little odd to have people speak to you, but I get the first shot here, so come on up. And then we're going to pass it through to your family. So to begin, you did beautifully. You taught us beautifully. You read, you chanted. Yasher koach. Really beautiful. It's been an honor to get to study with you. And I will say to begin, Rabbi Feivel and I both remarked that there were times where Eitan pointed something out to us about what we were teaching, and we both said, oh, you're right, which is pretty impressive to have proved wrong or stumped both of the rabbis that were training him for his bar mitzvah. But it takes work and it takes inquiry. And I have to say, Eitan, that was one of the things that in a very respectful manner, right? It wasn't challenging. It wasn't kind of pompous. It was like thoughtful that you pushed me. And so when we studied, you challenged me, you challenged the text. And that's Judaism. That is what the foundation of our tradition is trying to fix. And what I want to say to you is that this modern world, with new ethical issues, with space that we want to talk about. And so here, for easy to remember, there are 3 H's I want to talk about. Her, right? And so here, I think there's chutzpah. It's not exactly an H, but I'm going to call chutzpah if you can't say the ch. And so I think, Eitan, you have this incredible Moses-esque capacity to reflect humility and I think that Moses really reflects both. And then what's the product? What happens when you marry humility with some good chutzpah? What's Moses doing in that moment? He's helping. He is helping for the very sister who just attacked him, right? It's the siblings just attacked his very leadership. And yet, in that moment, he takes the humility and the chutzpah and he helps others. And you have grown up in a family that demonstrates that so beautifully. And in their own very quiet, humble way, not afraid to show chutzpah when it's holy and necessary. And that's what you have taken and made it your own, right? The model that your parents and your family have created for you is one to learn from and draw from and be inspired by, but now it's yours. And so what an honor it is to be here today to celebrate you and to see this incredible sacred combination of humility and chutzpah, and to know that that will set you on a course of noble, beautiful Jewish living for the sake of not just helping yourself, but helping others. And we wish you such a huge mazal tov. It's been an honor to study with you and learn from you. I'm now going to call up, starting with both of together, Shimon. Okay. Shimon and Shira. B'chavod. Guys, do it near the mic so we can hear you on Zoom, okay? Yeah. All right.
Me and my Jewish brothers on the bima. Call me Miriam. Do I stay here? Yes.
Whenever I tell anyone that I have a twin brother, they always ask if we look and act the same. Most people think of twins as more alike as they are different. Eitan and I are more different than we are alike. Yes, we shared a womb, or as we like to say, we were womb mates. But that's where our similarities started and stopped. When we were very young, we shared a room. I liked to go to bed early and with all of the lights out and the room pitch black. Eitan liked to go to bed as late as possible and sleep with the lights on. I liked building organized towers with my Legos and paper bricks, while Eitan always loved to tear them down with his kicks and punches. Eitan liked to run around the house naked for as many years as he could possibly get away with, and was convinced not to wear underwear for the next 10 years. I always liked my shirt buttoned up to my neck. Eitan believes that if you've slept in clothes that previous night, and then they don't have obvious stains on them, you could wear them the next day. He also only wore Eagles jerseys for about 9 years straight, and I was never convinced that he wasn't wearing the same one every day. However, fresh and clean is my theme. I like boundaries. Eitan knows no boundaries.
Every time he runs out of outlets and Ethernet thingies, he doesn't hesitate before he confiscates the ones in my room. Scaring me is Eitan's favorite pastime. Whether by hiding in my closet, behind my door, or underneath my desk, he would stop at nothing to try to terrorize me.
It works.
I go to bed at 10, while he also goes to bed at 10 a.m. I am a respectful student, always prepared, and polite during class. In my online classes, Eitan took it upon himself to spontaneously jump into frame and announce himself as my twin brother while proceeding to take over with his wonderful humor. Being Eitan's brother is never boring, and as much as I scream and complain, I must admit that he makes my life more interesting, fun, and filled with laughter. I know that he will always be there for me, and I can always, mostly, trust him. I can't imagine life without him. I love you, Eitan.
Shimon, I thought you were good at math. But okay.
It wasn't like differential calculus.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually don't know if I'm going to win this competition. But Eitan, granted, I wasn't entirely sure if it was you or Shimon that I tried to throw away. But I never would have done it if I knew what kind of brother you would be. You are my confidant, my professional spider killer, my late night chef, and my comp-sci tutor. But if the College Board asks, no, you weren't. In everything you do, it's evident how much you care for others, especially Shimon and I, through the small things like dropping off my packages to breaking Shimon's wires to give him clap lights. I'm not talking about just the difference between a motherboard and a daughterboard, which I also definitely know. But your knowledge and memory is truly scary and never fails to humble any adult who tries to debate you. I'm so proud of the intelligent young man you are becoming, and I feel so lucky to be your sister and to be able to make fun of you, laugh, and love you every step of the way. So, with that being said, I officially apologize for trying to throw you away. I think Shimon wins. It's okay.
Yeah, I think he does.
It's okay. I win for best sister.
Eitan. Already this is going better than my speech at the bris. I got the right name and the right kid. I mentioned to you in the car the other day that when a dad has a son, you actually start thinking right then and there what you want to say at the bar mitzvah. And for 13 years I've been rehearsing. And then along came COVID, messed up everything I had to say, and I had to go with a pivot. And I didn't know what I was going to say, and I didn't know how I was going to do this. And I was actually at Shavuot services, and Rabbi Rotenberg had one word, and I said, that's the word. He said, Dayenu. And I said, that's the wrong holiday. But when I think about it, COVID. We got through COVID. Thank God nobody got sick. We're here. Dayenu. You got a shot. Dayenu. If you'd had a Zoom bar mitzvah, Dayenu. But now COVID's gone away. We're here. People are flying in from all over. We started with a small crowd. Now we got a big crowd. We're all here. Diana, you read beautifully. We thought we were stuck because there's no bar mitzvah class. And then we found Rabbi Feivel in Shreveport, Louisiana, who discovered Zoom, and Rabbi Joe stepped up, and you stepped up because you opted in to do this. I mean, there was the perfect opportunity to not do everything that you did. And you stepped up and you opted in. And you decided to work with the rabbis, and I think you did. I think you actually enjoyed it. Eitan, on his actual bo bayom, on the actual day of his bar mitzvah, got up at, Eitan doesn't get up in the morning, but Eitan got up at 7 o'clock and put on tefillin in 40-degree weather in an outdoor tent on Wilshire Boulevard and got called to Torah on his bo bayom, on his actual was actual day of his 13th Hebrew birthday. So again, Diana, but you opted into this, and I'm very, very proud. I'm very proud. The Torah says that everything is a blessing and a curse. Okay? I'm proud of you and Shira and Shimon for the resilience, and your friends of how you got through COVID. It's the resilience. You hung in there. You started a new school. You made some new friends. And what did you do? You taught yourself how to grill steaks. You had to code in VR. You bought yourself a new 3D printer. You built a Lego model of the Colosseum. You played a little bit of video games. Maybe COVID wasn't all so bad. And the other blessings. You and Shira discovered a passion for midnight baking in the kitchen. And mainly because of COVID, you discovered that there's another boy almost exactly your age, living just a bedroom away, and that you actually like him. So again, the blessing and the curse of COVID. But today you're bar mitzvah. Today we celebrate your bar mitzvah. I've said many, many times, you don't need a ceremony like this to be a bar mitzvah. You don't have to have a bar mitzvah to be a bar mitzvah. You become a full-fledged member of the Jewish community on the 13th day with a Jewish mother, then you're a member of our community. This is what I call icing on the cake. It's your honor, it's your privilege in front of the community, and you did a great job. This is a day that God created. We're celebrating it. I often wonder why we wait till 13 to do a bar mitzvah. Why not 10? Why not 15? Who came up with 13? Maybe because 13 is when you get a real sense of what kind of person you're going to be and what kind of man you're going to become. But I have to say, not with you. Always we knew who you were. As a kid, you were the prankster of pranksters. You were always hacking mom's phone. You were always stealing people's technology. But I always gave you my passwords and credit cards, and you memorized them. And I figured, why not give you my passwords and all my codes? Because it wouldn't matter. You're going to hack them and get them yourself anyway. For as long as I remember, you've been my in-house IT department. And there's a cost to me. Because anytime I ask a question, if I have a problem with a printer or a program, I have to endure your groan, your eye rolls, and the pitying looks that you give me. But you've always been there. And then it says, what does it say here? Insert bad dad joke. Okay, so I thought it was very appropriate, given your parsha, to talk about when technology is first mentioned in the Torah, and I guess that would be when Moses downloaded from the cloud onto the tablet.
Yes, thank you.
Eitan, you're an old soul. You're an old soul. You're wise. You're quick-witted. You're funny, and I love your fearlessness. I love your fearlessness. I just get a little nervous when I see you plugging in things to the electrical sockets that don't belong there, or trying to explode batteries with lasers. And who else knows what you're doing when I'm not even looking? But most of all, you make me laugh. I'm not sure if you were happy or embarrassed when I send your jokes around to other people. And you probably don't know this, but I am trying to sell some of your jokes to some of the late-night talk hosts, especially the one when you said, Johnson & Johnson has a vaccine. No way. For years, they've been lying about no more tears, baby shampoo. Now I'm going to trust them with a vaccine? But most of all, I love you because you're a mensch. You're affable. You have friends. You care about your friends. Your friends care about you. You have a big heart. You have a neshama. You're a good person, and that's why I love you. And I hope you grow up and continue to be the mensch that you've been. And I love you.
Eitan, Mom had to go answer an email.
Ooh. What's new? Oh no, what's in the bag?
You thought the bad jokes were painful. Just wait.
There's a cord out. Why is there a cord? There shouldn't be a cord. Bags don't have cords.
Sprinting in a dress. Uvyom, Hakim, and Hashmi. It's the only. Okay, first, Shira and Shimon. You thought it was all about you. The last few months you've been focused on Eitan, trying to have a simcha while navigating through all of the COVID do's and don'ts. It's been taxing. I want to thank you both for your patience. Second, I want to thank all of the family and friends that have come from near and far and very far, those that came on foot, those that came by bike and pedal, all to celebrate our simcha with us. It makes it all that much more special. Each parent hopes that their child will find groups of friends, be it through school, camp, or other activities, that will provide a fun and supportive community. I feel very grateful for the friends that Eitan has, including the parents of our friends who have watched after you and been there for you and provided us salmons and roasts and everything. Rabbi Joe and Rabbi Feivel, thank you for the wisdom, stewardship, and generous spirit in helping Eitan and all of us. Evan, you are an incredible teacher and parent in all aspects of life, including your partnership in planning and preparing for Eitan's bar mitzvah. Single-handedly, you took care of almost everything. Thank you. About your bar mitzvah was studying and practicing with you. It was never planned and always organic and at odd moments throughout the days and weeks, but you and I would get together and study. Most of the time you would berate me for my sad trope. You would come into my home office during the school break while you were cooking dinner, and sometimes the three of us, you and Shira and I, would practice at the dinner table. I love all three of my children equally, but today is about you. What a wild ride and an honor it is to be your mom. Truth be told, when I learned that I was pregnant with twins, I cried because I was afraid I wouldn't know how to be a good mom to Shira, let alone twins. I immediately enrolled in Sue Darrison's twin class, paid the exorbitant price, diligently ditched work for hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and attended class twice weekly so that I could learn how to raise twins in such a way that they could each have their own identity. What a waste of time and money. You have always been different. You have always been you. A person's bedside table often tells what a person's interests are, what they're reading about, family photos, notes. In short, a person's bedside table is often a repository for the things that reflect what a person is thinking about or needs on a daily basis. Most people have a book, a cell phone, a picture, notepad. Your bedside table and the second bed that you have pushed closer in order to act as an extended bedside table says the whole story. Let's take a look at the things that you need closest to you in the middle of the night or when you wake up very first thing in the morning. Let's just take a look.
You didn't bring my pocket knife.
I think everybody needs a glue gun in the middle of the night. I think everybody needs an electric meter in the middle of the night. That's right, multimeter. I think everybody needs a soldering iron stand.
You don't even
in
know
the
what that
middle.
is.
What?
It's a soldering. It's called a helping. It's called a helping hand.
Yeah, a
You
helping
use it when you're
hand.
soldering.
A knife. A second knife. Phillips and flatheads.
There's stars too.
Earplugs for when his printer is going off in the middle of the night. Wire cutters.
These aren't wire cutters.
These are not wire cutters? What are these?
They're
Why are they by your bed? And my father's bullnose pliers, which are like more than 65 years old. So that is what Eitan has next to his bed. The octopus, the gun, everything.
gun. Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have always
Doesn't
liked. Right.
Doesn't shoot.
You have always liked the freedom to explore. You never liked to be confined or even swaddled in your baby blanket. You quickly learned to climb into Shimon's crib and annoy him, and then how to rappel down the sides of your own crib into the world that awaited. While I could talk for hours about all of your different strengths and attributes, I will focus on just two today. First, resilience and no fear of failure. Many people know you as the techie wizard, the kid that teachers call when they have an IT problem with equipment in their classroom, or even Shelley during a school assembly. What? It's embarrassing. Okay.
It's not.
Okay. You are the friend that other kids call at 11:30 at night when they're having problems with their own computers or design or tech problems or homework. The kid that can build things from scratch, the kid that takes everything apart and mostly puts them back together. You had your first set of tools at the age of 3, you learned how to use a Sawzall at the age of 5, and by the time you were 7 years old, you had built your own computer from scratch. Since the age of 7, you have managed to short the house multiple times, blow fuses on a regular basis, burn the grass in the backyard with your explosions, and keep us all on high alert with your experiments. I secretly love that your room is a mess, with tools and creations. I secretly love that every new tool I buy for myself, you unabashedly confiscate, but twice. I love that you feel the need to build a soldering iron workbench at midnight, and that you need to modify your 3D printer. I really love that you use Grandpa's bottlenose pliers. I love that there are 3D filament scraps on the floor, empty soda cans, and bags of Cheez-Its on your desk in the morning, a sure sign that you were up all night either creating or destroying something. I love that you were able to program Shimon's Alexa from your room and annoying him with messages from Alexa. I love that you are comfortable being you. But what I love about all of your builds and computers and coding and Oculus and all of the explosions is your utter lack of fear of failure. I love that you're not afraid to fail. Your willingness to experiment, your tenacity to try things over and over and over again until you accomplish your goal will serve you well as you grow from youth to adulthood. Failing is an experiment. It is not a negative experience for you. For you, failure is part of the journey to success. I love this part about you because it shows resilience. You want me to stop? No. Okay. Most people think that resilience is about bouncing back, but that is not the meaning. Resilience is about working through a problem and coming out the other side stronger, more confident, and wiser. And I hope you keep those characteristics always. Nurture it and use it in as many parts of your life as possible. Do you want me to fast forward?
Oh, no, you can do it.
Okay.
I'm surprised you wrote so much.
I know.
I started working yesterday.
I know. Am I doing okay? The second thing I would like to talk about is freedom and responsibility. As Rabbi Sachs pointed out in one of the teachings about your parsha, the people, the Israelites, have been complaining to Moses this time about the food, not my cooking. They are tired of the manna. They want meat instead of manna. Moses appalled that they had not yet learned to accept the hardships of freedom, and he prayed to die. The part that struck me was the part that said the Jews have not yet learned to accept the hardships of freedoms. Growing up and having freedom does come with joy, but it also comes with hardship. You just need to be patient and look for the reward. You received your talit today and you're having your bar mitzvah today, and in order to get to this point, you had given up lots of free periods of time in order to be prepared. But whatever little or big, what?
Talking to the mic.
No. But whatever little or big hardships you incurred, it was certainly worth it. I know, well, okay, you know me, I can't sit still. Remember, just like the Israelites in the desert, freedom comes with hardships, but enduring those hardships and being resilient will also bring you strength and rewards. I'll skip that part. Can I? Okay, community. Community. You've often heard me talk at Purim, Seders, and other gatherings that we host, that our house is merely a bunch of 2x4s, and it's not until we fill it with family and friends, like everyone here today, that it actually becomes a home. To feel full, to feel rich in this world, we need support, we need community. As I look around the yard, I can hope you appreciate the wealth and family friendships that we have. This is your community. Cherish it. Give back to it, add to it. We support them, they support us. Celebrate the good times, the not so good times. Laugh and do silly things with your friends and be there for each other. Be a responsible member of your community. I'm going to skip to this part. My wish, my wish for you as you enter adulthood is to enjoy your childhood and youth. Don't lose your gift of being yourself, of trying new things, being a good friend, being silly, playful, living in the moment. Blow things up, hide in closets, scare the crap out of your brother and future bunkmates and college mates. Be you. Remind yourself that happiness is most easily found in the simplest of things, and everything goes better with family and friends. Know that I am your biggest fan, along with Daddy, and I am so profoundly blessed and proud to be your mom.
Wow, Mazal Tov. We take the full hearts that we have right now, and then we're going to offer some poignant and necessary prayers right now for our country and for Israel. We'll put the Torah away then just after that, and then we will go through a quick Musaf service. We're on page 177. Call forward Saul Breskel to be followed by Amir and Efrat Nadel.
This one? Yeah. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. Adonai God, whose spirit is in all its creatures, we pray that your spirit will be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all people to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And they will say, Amen.
Ask everybody to please rise for the prayer for the state of Israel. And I just want to say, I'm often in this backyard in early June because this is one of the homes that welcomes our Mishlachat, our Israelis that come to work at Camp Ramah. And we've had many welcome barbecues for the entire Mishlachat, and then there are always a lucky few that consider this their summer home. And then they bring their friends over the summer. And so certainly as our hearts are in Israel, we know that Israel is celebrated and honored here as well. So b'chavod.
Thank you. אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. הגן עליה בעברת חסדך ופרוס עליה סוכת שלומך.
ושלח אורך ועמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך. חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם. ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר אמן.
אמן.
We remain standing as we will return the Torah to the Ark. We're on page 183. I'll call forward, Kurush and Eli Dayan to open the Ark. Shem Adonai, ki niskaf shemo levato, hodo olamo, tehila lechol chasido, livnei Yisrael am karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Mizmor leDavid, habul Adonai b'nei
השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים אל כבוד הרים אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר, כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני, איתן, קדש. כל אדוני יכול האיילות, ויחשוף יערות ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו ושלום. ונוחו יאמר מחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם לכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה קדש קדש ימינו קדש ימינו יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירצה וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Begins on 185. We'll start out loud. We'll go through the kiddush together on 187, and then have a couple minutes to complete our own private personal Musaf Amidah. 185.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanorai El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol v'Zorcher Chastei Avot U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham v'Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayim Eitim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayim מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים. נעריצך ונקדישך כצוציח שורפי קודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך לארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו יפן ברחמים ויחונם מעם יחדים שמו ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד פעמיים באהבה שמה אומרים שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד הוא אלוהינו אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
203 Kaddish Shalem.
יתגלה ויתגלה שמי רבה, בעלמא דברחיר טב, ימליך מלכותי בחייכון וימלכון בחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון דכל ישראל קודם ובהון וישמעיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמעיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו, מי כאלוהינו, מי כאדוננו, מי כמלכנו, מי כמושיענו, נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו, ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו. אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו, אתה הוא שהקטירו אבותינו, לפניך את קטורת הסמים. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עמד מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד, על כן נקבל לך אדוני. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. אמן. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם בריחו. אמן. אמן. Amen.
You may be seated. I'm going to call forward Eitan to help lead Adon Olam at the end. You got it. And Eitan's friends that are still here, you guys have been awesome. I will say we're all a little rusty, although this didn't feel that way at all. And you guys especially, have not been sitting in these services week after week. You guys were awesome. You guys come forward and help Eitan sing the last song. Even if you don't know it, just come stand with him.
Oh, okay.
Just you guys left.
What's the first Adon Olam melody that comes to your brain?
It's 211 Adon Olam. And then we'll go straight into kiddush.
That one? Sure. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam Vehu Echad Ve'en Sheni Leham Shelo Lehachbira Adon Olam Beli Reishit Beli Tachlit Velo Haoz Ve'hamisra Adon Olam Vehu Eli V'chai Goali Ve'tzur Chevli Be'etzara Adon Olam Vehu Nisi Umanosli Menak Kosi Beyom Ekra Adon Olam Beyado Avkid Ruchi Be'etishan Ve'ayira Adon Olam Ve'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai li velo ira Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam.
Please rise for kiddush. A long list of announcements from Dana, and they are to have fun and eat. Eitan's going to lead us in kiddush right now. Grape juice or wine's being passed around, and then he will do hamotzi up here, and then let the festivities begin. Great.
The festivities were later. What? I'll do it. Yeah, Yona can do it.
V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai Et hashamayim ve'et haaretz vayom hashri Shabbat vayinafa.
Am I singing or just say it? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
You guys hand him the grape juice that's back there.
What, the washing?
I want him to take a sip of grape juice.
In the little glass.
And then take a sip.
Take a shot.
And then, whoa.
What?
And then you go wash your hands.
You're supposed to drink it all.
And now Eitan will do hand washing and then say hamotzi. Pull those napkins out of the bowl. There we go.
In the bowl.
It's okay, guys, it's his bar mitzvah. Back off. Give him a break. Baruch. Eitan's going to lead hamotzi. Just the prayer. Just over here. Nice and loud. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
No, I can't eat it.
Eitan, wait. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. Mazel tov.